Hi everyone, Richard here at Calvin Wazoo, and it's the final installment of the 100 records that I would keep if I were to sell or dispose of the rest of my collection. Yes, part 4. All right, so yeah, the premise is kind of based on a couple other videos that I had seen, which I talked more about in parts 1 and 2. But as always, my caveats are I have many albums that I have, I have them both on vinyl and CD. So there are some records that are omitted from this list because I have it also on CD. And then sometimes there are going to be some selections that just seem kind of odd that they're in my list, but it's because I don't have it on CD, or I'm just really super fond of the vinyl release of that. And not all of the titles that are on my list do I necessarily consider to be like the best. There's other reasons that go into my selection process, such as just the nostalgic value and, memories that are associated with that particular record. But it must be noted that Seat Headrest is not appearing at all in this list because I'm keeping all my Seat Headrest recordings regardless of format, period. Same with my Ryuichi Sakamoto. I am keeping all of those records that I have, so they're not going to be appearing in this list. And I probably are gonna want to keep all my anime soundtracks, so there are no anime soundtracks in this list. That doesn't mean I would dispose them. I'm gonna probably keep them. And I never did get around to actually picking a classical music or orchestral music, I should say. And I have a lot of them on CD. And because orchestral pieces tend to be, longer, even piano concertos and violin concertos, having it on CD is probably, my preferred format. Although I do have some, opera and other choral pieces and some other obscure items on vinyl, but I just didn't consider that as for this list. All right, so let's get to the final 25 of what records I would keep if I were to just dissolve my collection for whatever reason. And we're going to start off. This first one is going to probably be a bit cliche, but hey, Kinda Blue, Miles Davis. I mean, come on. Maybe it is a little cliche to say that this is one that I would keep, but this is such an amazing album. I mean, seriously. So what else can you say about it? And then there's another one by Miles Davis I would want to keep, and that's this Mo-Fi of In a Silent Way. I find this more enjoyable, a little more accessible than Bitches Brew, although I love Bitches Brew, and I have Bitches Brew on CD, so, that's why I would keep that one. Okay, now, some of you probably know about this artist, and some of you don't, and that's Moondog, the Viking of 6th Avenue, or something like that. Viking of 6th Avenue, yeah. If you're unfamiliar, you should check it out, look him up. And whatever, music streaming service or on YouTube, that you prefer. Moondog is really quite amazing, especially his ode to Charlie Parker, which has been sampled by a lot of DJs. Anyway, Moondog, amazing story. Look him up in my history in terms of the videos that I've made, because I've talked about Moondog before. All right. Stephen Stills' Manassas. This is such a wonderful album. I love the way it's put together in terms of each side having its own character. And it's just a really solid representation for Stephen Stills, post Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young So very good record, double record. It is really a classic of the 70s. And then another classic of the era, and that's this one here, Blows Against the Empire. Paul Kantner Group or Jefferson Starship. I mean, it does say Jefferson Starship on here. But yeah, this is, you got Jerry Garcia playing on this. It's just such an amazing record. And it's very much a concept album from start to finish. I totally love this album. It is, there's nothing else I would want to keep from Jefferson Airplane or Jefferson Starship. This is going to satisfy my itch in that category. This one here, for new writers of the Purple Sage. This is their eponymous debut. Great classic song, Henry. I mean, this is just such a fun song, but there's also some other really great psychedelic country-fried, yeah. New Riders of the Purple Sage, definitely be a keeper in my collection. If I had Panama Red, I might consider adding that, but I don't have Panama Red. I don't have it on CD and I don't have it on vinyl. I should probably get it. Coil is industrial electronic project duo, founded by two gay men who were partnered. This one here is an amazing album, Queens of the Circulating Library. It is a drone piece from start to finish, just really mesmerizing and just really enjoyable. And I would keep two from Coil, the other one being this one here. This is Love's Secret Domain. So, they didn't wear their homosexuality on their sleeve, but they never hid it. And, we're talking going back into the 80s and early 90s, when it was not a very wise thing to do, especially in the entertainment industry, to announce who you are. They didn't announce it necessarily, but they didn't shy away from it. And you look at this cover long enough, you'll also see that they were being quite forward, both with their cover art and also with the subject matter of some of their songs, vis-a-vis the titles. Okay, I had, for Neil Young, Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, but, I've been making some last minute changes to this list, and I decided to go with this, Live Rust. It's got several of the songs from Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere included, and great performances of it. Plus, it's got Powderfinger, it's got just so many other great songs, and it's a solid double record. It is the one I'm going to keep from Neil Young, and it was hard to really narrow it down to just one because I've got so many Neil Young records, and I really don't have that many of them on CD as well. So it was a little bit of a tough choice. I would want to keep this one from the Japanese math rock band Toe. And I always have to read the title because it's the book about my idle plot on a vague anxiety. You should check out and look in my videos, and you'll see that I did a video ranking all of the Toe releases. Check that out, especially if you've never heard Toe, because I do have some needle drops in that video so you can get an idea of who they are and what they play. And this is the one that I would keep if I were to get rid of everything else. Now, I thought about not including any individual albums from this band because I have a box set. And I have the box set both with just that band and also when they were with Eric Burdon. So, but I decided to keep this in the list anyway. This particular album by War, The World is a Ghetto. Such an excellent album. I think Beatles in the Bog is really kind of a really good song in the Four Cornered Room. But I think the City Country City is such a beautiful, expansive, head opening kind of song, and plus they've got the hits like Cisco Kid and The World is a Ghetto. So definitely War is going to be saved in my collection. And then another one that I would be saving in my collection would be this, Horses by Patti Smith. Again, I was kind of ambivalent about keeping this because I have it on CD, which also includes her cover of The Who's Talking About My Generation, and which is just a banger of a cover. But again, I mean, it's a classic album, and certainly one that sounds really great on vinyl. So yeah, Patti Smith, Horses, I would keep that. Poster Children. Junior Citizen was a contender for the one that I would say, but I decided to go with the one that, the first one that I ever heard by them when I saw the videos for If You See K, and what was the other song that they did at that time? For Daisy Chain Reaction. But yeah, just a great rockin' grungy kind of band from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, from the late 80s, early 90s. So yeah, Poster Children, Daisy Chain Reaction, really solid album. And they've been reissuing their catalog over the past couple of years. Going back a little bit further into the 80s, we've got this one here, the Alan Parsons Project, I, Robot. This was a really, really important album for me at the time when it was released. That one and Turn of the Friendly Card is another really good one. But this is such a fantastic album, and it's, as I say, it's very much a concept album, and just sweeping, and the recording and engineering. I mean, it's Alan Parsons, so naturally it's going to be just really outstanding when it comes to the recording and engineering. But yes, so this one here, I, Robot, is going to be a keeper in the collection. So the next one here is, we got two from one of my all-time favorite jazz musicians and leaders, and it's Eric Dolphy, and this particular one where it is with Booker Little, Far Cry. Oh, again, check my video history, because I recently published a video that I go through my Eric Dolphy collection. This is a fantastic album. And another one that I would definitely keep of Eric Dolphy would be Iron Man. This was the first Eric Dolphy album I ever purchased, and it is just really, it's just enough out there for you, to really, really appreciate what he's doing, but it's also modal enough that it isn't too alien sounding, I guess, perhaps. But I like this. I like what Eric Dolphy does. I think he is just a fantastic musician. All right. Now, the other day, when I was doing a new episode for Jazz Mondays, I got a new Oscar Peterson record. I was like realizing, oh my God, I have to get Oscar Peterson into my 100 records, because my God, he, my favorite jazz pianist, absolutely amazing musician, and I will talk about him more because for Jazz Monday, because soon I will be reaching that part of my collection and my Oscar Peterson records, but for the time being, this is the one out of them that I would keep if I were to dispose of my collection on the town. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about Oscar Peterson, but I'll save it for that particular episode, so you should be seeing that in the next few weeks. I had 2 records by Mdou Moctar that I was going to put in my list, but I decided to go just with this one. Sosame Tomachek. I thought I was going to have Ilana the Creator also included, but I have that on CD, and I needed to make room for Oscar Peterson. So I decided just to go with this one. And this is, probably my favorite release. A little more on, he's still got the electric guitar going on, but it's more centered on acoustic guitar playing. Just an amazing guitar player. Again, I've done a lot of videos talking about Mdou Moctar. In the last 3 years, I think I've already seen him 4 times. The most recently at a free show in New York City in Central Park. That was just an absolutely amazing show. Mdou Moctar, if you don't know anything about him, you really need to do yourself a favor and give it a listen. Now back to some jazz. We got this one here, my favorite release by Charles Mingus, or as he's called on this one, Charlie Mingus, Tijuana Moods. Yes, I've loved this album ever since the first time I heard it on CD. I had it on CD. I think I lost it because I don't have it anymore, so I must have lost it. But yeah, this is just really great all the way through. And in fact, it says here, the album Charlie Mingus feels is his best work. Yeah, so, and it is very much a musical portrait of what life is or may be like in Tijuana, Mexico. Crazy wild town, to be sure. Back to some real rock and roll. And that's this one here, Mountain Climbing is the record. Leslie West. Yeah, the first time I heard this record was, roughly at the time of its release, maybe a couple years after, because it was released, I think, in '69, and I probably wasn't listening to it until maybe '71 or so. But wow, what a rocker from the opening riff. It's one of my favorite opening riffs to any song with Mississippi Queen. And then I got this really nice Japanese pressing of it. So Mountain Climbing. And then, of course, this is such an important album. It really is. Rage Against the Machine. This eponymous, I think it was your debut. Yeah. God, Killing in the Name of, and the other songs that are on here. God, Take the Power Back. Bullet in the Head. This is some serious, in-your-face lyrics. There's some teaching going on here, and it's just a rockin' record. Man, it is just. I struggle for the words to really portray how powerful this record is, and it's definitely one that's going to stay in my collection. Now, in another direction, we have this one here, Music Has the Right to Children by Boards of Canada. So this is, electronic kind of dance music, dancey, little on the house, a little bit on the ambient, but a fantastic record, just really textured and amazing, a truly amazing experience listening to this, and one that I definitely would be wanting to keep in my collection. And another one that's a little more ambient, not quite so dancey, but electronic. And that is this one here, Selected Ambient Works by Aphex Twin. I've talked about this in a, might have been a recent finds video, where I talk a little bit more about Aphex Twin, you know, and who is the person behind it. So, you know, hey, check these out. And if you haven't ever listened to it and you're kind of dabbling in electronic music, you know, this in ambient music, this is, I mean, if you like Brian Eno and what Brian Eno is doing later, you definitely want to be checking out Aphex Twin, and for that matter, Boards of Canada, which I just mentioned before. So down to the last two records. This one here, I was so surprised when I picked this up, and I am so glad I picked it up. You know, it's a Tone Poet release. This is Duke Ellington, Money Jungle, with Max Roach and Charlie Mingus. Just, wow, just really amazing. You know, and it really gave me a whole new perspective on Duke Ellington. This guy is just an amazing piano player. Just, you know, and you might think of Duke Ellington as, you know, being, you know, the big band jazz kind of guy, you know, like Count Basie and that, but wow. I mean, both of them, you know, don't poo-poo them because you associate them with, you know, like big band style jazz, and maybe that's not your thing. This is incredible, and his playing is absolutely incredible. Definitely a keeper. And then the last one from a completely different direction, and that's Television, Marquee Moon. Again, you know, just, it says jazz for the punk rock set. You know, I don't necessarily agree with that, but, you know, Tom Verlaine, just amazing guitar player, amazing songwriter, See No Evil Venus and Marquee Moon. You know, just, yeah, it was groundbreaking too for the time. 1978, 79, is that what it was? It's 1977, you know, so this was really, truly groundbreaking album. So yeah, Television, Marquee Moon. Well, there you go. I've completed my list of the 100 albums that I would keep in my collection if I were to dispose of the rest of them, with some caveats, you know, some exceptions, you know, should ever the need arise. I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment in the Down Under. I do love reading the comments and getting them. So yeah, leave a comment in the Down Under. Even if you subscribe, hit the like button, please. It helps with distribution of the video, to get my content in front of more people. I'm not monetized, so it's not like you're promoting me so I can make more money. And you can find me on Instagram as NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76. I'm also on Facebook as Kelvin Wazoo. I have a Facebook page. And always remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.